2 years ago, I felt guilty about what I ordered at a restaurant. I would pick the cheapest thing on the menu. A few days ago, I turned down a family event because I wanted to rest, and I didn't even feel guilty about it for 1 second. Today, I'm going to walk you through the exact steps that took me from people pleasing, guilt ridden, to a woman who chooses herself unapologetically. And in 30 seconds, I'm going to tell you the exact question that made me realize that I was disappearing in my own life. Hit the subscribe button if you're ready to start taking up space and start living like you actually matter. Let me start by saying this. The guilt that you feel when you choose yourself, it's not your fault. A lot of us have been conditioned to believe that our value comes from how much that we sacrifice. I used to feel guilty for wanting 20 minutes to myself now that I'm a mom. Guilt was actually my compass pointing me towards what I needed the most. The turning point was when my therapist asked me, when was the last time that you made a decision based on what you wanted rather than what someone else needed? I could not answer that. I couldn't even remember. Quick check. When was the last time that you felt guilty for something small, like buying a coffee? Write it down in the comments. Here are the 5 steps that turn me from a chronic people pleaser to somebody who chooses herself without apologizing. And I'm going to be real about what each step actually looks like. Step number 1 is to start so small that your brain doesn't panic. I'm talking about ordering that complicated coffee order that you've been wanting to try instead of just picking an easy one for staff to make. For me, I would say letting my son have a few more minutes of screen time while I do something that I need to do, making sure that I have those small moments for myself every single day. Seems silly, 2 to 3 minutes a day. How is that really going to help? It literally reprograms your brain. And that is exactly why I created the 21-day Mommy Glow Up Guide. It is 2 to 5 minutes daily. By the time you reach the end of that 21 days, you're going to feel like a new woman. Step 2 is to get curious about the guilt instead of just feeling bad about it. So every time that guilt comes, I ask myself, why am I feeling guilty? What is this guilt trying to protect me from? Usually it was trying to protect me from conflict, from rejection, from being seen as too difficult. But when you finally name it, you can choose what to do with it. For example, feeling guilty about not sending more updates to my child's dad. Sometimes I feel like I should be sending him more updates. What I'm really feeling guilty about is being called the bitter baby mama, right? Nobody wants to be the bitter baby mama. So sometimes I want to make things easier, but I decided that it wasn't worth sacrificing my mental health for. So if he wants to reach out, then he can. But if he doesn't, I'm not going to worry about him. Comment me if you've ever felt guilty about basic self-care. Step number 3 is to practice the pause. Before automatically saying yes to requests, I start saying, let me check my calendar and I'm going to get back to you. Even for the smallest things, stay with me because this single pause has saved me from complete burnout. This gave me space to actually think about if I actually wanted to do something instead of reflex agreeing to it. Pause is where your power lives. Since I brought up co-parenting, the first time where I told him, I'm going to get back to you with a time that works better for us, he seemed a little shocked, right? It felt so much better because I actually chose to rather than feeling obligated to. Step 4 is to connect with your deeper why. I started to realize every time that I do not choose myself, I'm teaching my son about how he may see women. He might think that women are obligated to sacrifice themselves despite how they feel, despite what they want to do, especially moms. I don't want him to think that about women. So that's my why. I want to teach him to have boundaries with his own self. I want him to prioritize his own well-being. Step 5 is to celebrate small wins. Every time that I choose myself, I used to just disregard it, dismiss it, whatever. I decided to take a nice long bath at the end of the day. Who cares? Now I celebrate it. Your brain needs to understand that choosing yourself is a major win. Otherwise, you may continue to default to people pleasing. If this is resonating with you, don't forget to hit the subscribe button because next week we're going to really deep dive into something that would have saved me years. Let me tell you exactly what happened when I started to apply all of these steps into my life. At first, it was kind of wobbly. So it was like a wobble phase. I would choose myself and I would instantly feel guilty. And then I would overcompensate by saying yes to everything. By month 2 or 3, some people started to test my boundaries. There was a little bit of pushback. Some people just did not like this new version of me. Studies do say that it takes 66 days to form a new habit. It's going to feel a little weird and a little bit awkward when you start having stronger boundaries. What I learned from all of this, which is like a hidden gem, you get to learn what type of people were benefiting from you not choosing yourself. The people who were uncomfortable with my boundaries were benefiting from me having none. By month 4, I didn't care anymore. There were no long explanations. I could choose myself without feeling like I was in a spiral for days. So let's dive a little bit more into what happens when you have boundaries. Your family or friends or whoever might feel uncomfortable. They might start to call you selfish. That's because they're used to you being available for their comfort at the expense of your own. Some people might start saying passive aggressive comments or stop inviting you to things. But the hardest pushback is going to come from your internal critic. That voice is going to be very loud at first. Some relationships are going to change, but the people who truly love you will adjust and celebrate your growth. So before we wrap up, here are some exact things that I would say. So instead of saying, I'm sorry, I can't, you would say, that doesn't work for me. Instead of, I don't know, you can say, I prefer this option. Instead of, I guess I could, say, I'm not available for that. Instead of, sorry for bothering you, say, nothing. Just make your request. Your challenge this week is to pick one micro choice and practice it daily. Tell me your first micro choice in the comments.